Hello and welcome to the Lawrence County Animal Hour. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been here, but we have been very busy. We've got a lot of good things to talk about today and share with you. But first, I want to thank our sponsors, WLX and WDXC Radio, Dr. Jason Fort with Lawrenceburg Eye Care, Cassie Tuminella with Hearing Services of Middle Tennessee, Tiffany Cope with Cry Like Realtors, and Story and Lee Furniture.
Absolutely.
Today we've got with us Miss Ginger.
Hello.
Miss Ginger, you all know, with the Doggie House Animal Shelter. And we've got Miss Kathy Mott, who is a member of the Friends of Lawrence County Animals Board, and we appreciate her being here today. And we have a special guest today. His name is Milo, and I'm going to let Miss Ginger tell us about Milo.
Well, Milo is about 11 months old. He is, he could be a full golden retriever, but he's at least 80 to 90% golden retriever. All puppy, as you can tell, although he does calm down. So the shelter is full, and we are by full, I mean over full. However, we took Milo in actually this morning because some circumstances happened, and his owner is going into the military. I believe he's leaving tomorrow. And so I couldn't say, hey, no, we don't have any room for your dog, but hey, you go serve our country while I'm not, while we're not serving you. So Milo needs a home. He's been in a home. Like I said, he's 11 months old, and he's rambunctious. He's still a puppy, but he's housebroken. He lived in a home with other dogs, so he gets along with other dogs. I think he's trainable, and he's at a great age to get him going to where how you want to train him, teach him to be still, which is nice. Some of our dogs that I thought would be still here have not been. So there's that. So I thought he was going to be a little bit rambunctious, but he's slowed down for now anyway.
Milo's
So
acting very nice.
he is. So we need, because like I said, we are over capacity, so we need to find a permanent home for Milo, or somebody who could at least foster him for 2 or 3 weeks for us until maybe we can transfer and adopt out some more dogs so that we have more room for Milo. Right now he's going to be living in an office in a kennel. So obviously he'll get a lot of attention, but he needs to be in a home. So you can call me at 244-0265 if you would like to foster or adopt Milo.
And what's the process to adopt or foster Milo?
Well, you come to the shelter or call me, and I can email you an adoption form or a foster form. Then you fill that out. We kind of check to make sure you ask all the trick questions right, and then you can take him home.
Very simple.
Very simple. And like I said, you can foster him for, a couple of weeks, or you can adopt him straight out, or you can foster to adopt. I'm not sure if he's been neutered yet, so we would need to have him neutered one way, whether you foster him or you adopt him. So, and he'll be up to date on shots and microchipped.
Oh, and speaking of microchip, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Look at that, right, to segue right into our
Right
next
into the
subject.
Friends of Lawrence County Animals purchased a microchip reader station, and we have that located at the Lawrenceburg Police Department. And to access that, you would go in the parking lot that's off Waterloo Street. It's really the back side of the police department, and the station is right there under the porch. It's just
Right, like it.
available 24/7. And you can check to see if you find a dog, you can check to see if it has a chip, and try to find the owner and get it back home.
That is so important to have your dog microchipped because, again, if it gets out, then somebody can scan it and get your dog back to you. We just had a dog that the police brought in yesterday. And once I got home from work last night, my phone blew up because we found the owners saw our post on Facebook, And I went back to the shelter and let them get their dog instead of making them wait one more night without their dog because she had already been missing for 3 or 4 days. So I was asking them if she was microchipped, and they said no, but they thought this was the second time that somebody had tried to actually steal her.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you need to have her microchipped because she's brindle, and you would think, well, there aren't that many brindle dogs, but we probably have at least 6 at the shelter.
Right.
And if you don't know, if it's not your brindle dog, it looks like every other brindle dog pretty much that's
Right.
out there.
Right.
So you need to have your dog microchipped. Also, I suggested that they had a collar on their dog, but no ID tags. So for them, I suggested that they put their address on the tag because what I think is that somebody wasn't necessarily trying to steal their dog, but they thought the dog was a stray.
And that's a possibility. Yes, absolutely.
So if your address is on that ID tag, then at least they know they're picking up the dog at your address.
And there are actually multiple ways. Uh, the microchip is one way.
Mm-hmm.
The ID with your name and number, and also the rabies tag.
Yes.
You can also trace back the number on the rabies tag by
Mm-hmm.
checking with the Lawrence County Health Department, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yes, you can do that. You can go to the Tennessee. I want to say I went through the Tennessee Department of Health, and
Probably.
they issue the tags, and they have a range of tag numbers that have gone. You can just look up Lawrence County, and it'll tell you what vet's office that issued the tag, and you can call the vet's office, and they will.
And that's
Yeah.
wonderful. So there's really 3 ways that you can make sure your dog gets back home.
Yes.
Yes, and having a rabies shot is the law. So
Absolutely.
if your dog doesn't have a rabies shot, you should get one, and then they give you the tag for free.
And
So-
the vet has a record also.
Yes.
Or if you have a certain kind of collar, I've taken a Sharpie and just write a phone number on
Right.
there.
Yep.
Because sometimes I know of one right now that's lost its tags and decided to stray away from home. But
Yeah.
just take a Sharpie and just write your phone number.
That's a good idea. Just
Mhm.
write it
Because
right on
usually
the
the
collar.
collar will stay,
Mhm.
where sometimes the tags fall off.
Right.
Yeah, I had a dog that got out, and she got out of a chain link fence that was in front of a privacy fence. So she went kind of under the chain link and broke the thing on the privacy fence and left her collar on the sidewalk. So I did find her luckily down the street, but
Escape artist.
yeah, I was like,
Yes.
you don't love me, I feed you.
Yes. She just wanted to see what was
Definitely.
down the street.
Exactly.
So if you're interested in getting your dog microchipped, all of our vets, I made a phone call to all 4 of our vets here in Lawrence County just to make sure that they do that service.
Hmm.
And they do. There is a fee, and they all charge different amounts of money. But all the vets do microchip, so you just check with your vet or check with a vet, and it really isn't that expensive, to be able to get your dog back home.
Right. And if you don't know what a microchip is, it's a little chip that's probably smaller than a grain of rice, and it's just inserted with a bigger kind of needle between the I started to say razor blades, shoulder blades, between the shoulder blades of your dog. And it's pretty painless. I mean, the dog that lost her collar, she about had a heart attack when I had her microchip, but she's the only one that I've seen.
She was a drama queen, though.
Yeah, she was a little
Yeah.
bit of a drama queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a
I-
mama's girl.
I don't think they notice it any more than getting a vaccine, getting
Yeah.
a shot. So,
And use microchip. If anybody wants to foster or adopt any that's at the shelter right now, they will be microchipped.
They're all of our dogs are microchipped.
Yeah.
They're up to date
Rabies.
on their shots, and they're microchipped. And they get their rabies shots if they don't already have it when they're spayed or neutered.
mhm,
Good deal.
mhm. And when I adopted my three, yes,
Three.
three from the shelter, but I did them like over a period of 3 years too. Um, you gave me information that had the number of the microchip on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I called. Well, I didn't call the company. I think I did it online, because you can do everything online. But I registered the number with the company, but if I had not done that and my dog was lost, it would actually come back to the
Yes,
chamber.
it should
To the
come back.
chamber.
Yeah.
I've had the Chamber of Commerce on my mind today, and and
That.
and I wonder why. Why would I have the Chamber of Commerce on my mind? I only worked
Years.
there 30 years, but that's why I said at the chamber, at the shelter.
At the shelter.
Yeah,
Well,
don't call the chamber for your microchip number.
I don't know. I have a tendency to attempt to call the shelter the station. Now, I don't know if it's because I worked for a television station, we come to the radio station, or that I've been to the police station several times. But it's a station. So
It's a station.
if I mess up and I say I work at the station, you know it's the shelter.
Sometimes our minds just run off track.
Mine runs
Uh,
off track many
Yes,
times.
yes. Well, again, that microchip reader station, if you find a dog after hours, now you can go to the vet and they will scan it for you and they do not charge. I asked that when I called. But, if it's on the weekend or after hours and the vet is not open, that station is accessible right there at the Lawrenceburg Police Department. And we have signage on the wall that shows you how to do it. It's not hard to do, and what to do.
Yes.
Right.
So,
Under the arches.
under the arches.
Police
Yes.
station, not
Mhm.
the
Yes.
sheriff's
Yes,
department.
on the Lawrenceburg Police Department.
Yes.
Yes. Well, something we're really excited about went on last week, um, and that's the True North initiative.
Yes, it was truly an
It,
experience.
it was an experience.
Um, I was exhausted, as were you and everybody else, but it was kind of emotional.
It was very
It
emotional.
was
In fact, I'll have to tell you, Ginger cried. And when she cried, I had to walk off because I was about to cry. Ginger gets
I'll cry
very
again.
attached to the animals that she takes care of, and and that's why I'm not managing an animal shelter. I couldn't do it, Ginger. So I admire you for what you do. But go ahead and tell us about the transport.
All right. Well, besides my crying, um, so we transported 24 dogs. I didn't transport. Thank goodness for Jeff and Joe, Jeff Pettis and Joe
Beckman.
Beckman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They drove all the way straight through to Buffalo, New York. Took them 15 or so hours.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They didn't even stop to eat. Anyway, I'm not sure I would have wanted to stop to eat either if I had 24 dogs in a van in crates. But anyway, so in order for them to go, we made sure they were all up to date on their shots. We had most of them spayed or neutered before they left. There's a lot of paperwork to go with it. I have to put a big shout out to Casa Clinic and Casa Transport out of Columbia. We use their vans going back and forth for the spays and neuters, and we also use the Casa Transport van to head up north. So, and our little trip started at 2 a.m. So, I was at the shelter, Leanne Pettis was at the shelter, Beth was at the shelter, and our trustee, James, thank goodness for James, was at the shelter as well. And we had a little assembly line going. I think we have pictures. I did a little video on our Facebook page, a little reel, I guess it was.
Yeah.
I'm old. I'm not sure I understand all the things about reels. But anyway, I made one. So if you haven't seen it, go on there and give it a big thumbs up. It'll make me feel good. Um, but what's really neat about it is how we all came together. I mean, the community worked. We had people, best friends, Animal Sanctuary helped fund part of the spays and neuters. They helped us find rescues up in the New York area that were going to take the dogs. So it's been It's been great, but I will tell you that to see those dogs drive away, I'll probably cry now, so forgive me. To see them loaded in the van and to take off, it was like one of those bittersweet moments. I was so happy that they were going to go up north, and they're all in foster homes, so they're not any place in a kennel. Um, so they're all in foster homes. I was so happy to see them leave, and then I was so sad to see them leave. I know, everybody is probably saying, but that's what they're supposed to do. I know that's what they're supposed to do. I understand that, but we get really, really attached. So, but it was great. Tomorrow we have we have 11 or 12 puppies headed over to Hardin County, and they're going to find their way up to Michigan in a couple of weeks. So we are doing the best we can to, I'm going to say, empty the shelter, but we're not emptying it. It's never going to be empty, but to get down to a manageable level. We are so overwhelmed with dogs um, that it's overwhelming. I mean, obviously it's overwhelming,
Wow.
but we should probably house probably 70 would be a good number. And even after tomorrow with the puppies leaving, you want to see somebody cry, but anyway, tomorrow after the puppies are leaving, we're still going to have over 100 dogs. So we're still
Right.
a good 30 dogs before really we can comfortably take any more in. And it's not, I know I'm taking a lot of time chatting, and it's not just that we can't care for them or we don't have a space for them. We don't have the staff, and
Right.
we don't, when you, in your budget, you put in X amount of money for food because you think you're going to be feeding maybe at the most 75 or 80 dogs, and then you've been feeding 120 plus.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge strain on just the budget. So
Right. Right.
so we need to
And the
get our
meds
numbers
and
down,
the extra
and the
and the
meds and
meds.
the
Right.
spays and neuters,
Right.
which we do get a discount on them, but on average, a spay neuter costs us $107.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have 100 dogs, I mean, just think of that, because they all, by law, we have to spay and neuter them.
Right.
So it gets extremely expensive.
We hope, however, that we'll be traveling back to New York
I hope
with this
so. Yep.
relationship that you have built with best friends, and of course CASA, our
Yeah.
CASA partner in Colombia. They're awesome. But hopefully we'll be traveling back to New York. If we're always looking for volunteers,
Always looking for
um,
volunteers.
van drivers. Always looking for van
Dog
drivers.
bathers, walkers.
Um, one of our volunteers, Carol, is transporting the
The
puppies
puppies tomorrow.
tomorrow over to Hardin County.
You don't want to
Um,
be there when that vehicle drives away.
well,
You know how much
no,
I love
I know
puppies.
you're attached to them, and they've been in your office now
Some of them, yeah.
for a while. But I know it at the transport that went to New York, and James was going and getting the dog, and I was giving a med, and Leanne was filling up the water bucket that was in each dog's kennel, so they would have water, and Ginger's trying to kiss it while James
Well,
is
all
putting
that's
it
going,
while
yeah.
James is putting it in the kennel, and she's going, Ginger's gonna miss you, and she's kissing, and it was sweet. It was sweet, but getting the pictures back where these dogs are in foster now, and
Oh my
seeing them on the
gosh.
couch and on the recliner, and oh,
And
it's so sweet.
oh, I got the
So sweet.
sweetest picture of Duchess, who was the mama dog to some of the puppies who are leaving tomorrow. And she was just laid out with toys all around here,
Oh,
around her, on this rug in front of a fireplace. Now it's still warm in Buffalo. The fireplace was not on,
not
but
all
I
right.
could just imagine, a little crackling fire and her just sleeping away, and
Yeah.
she looked like she was in just peace, you know.
I got so tickled at my mom, who's 91. she said, Buffalo, that's the coldest place in the United States. I said, Mother, they're going to be house dogs. They're going to
Yes,
be inside. I guarantee
Plus,
they're
they
going to
wear
be
fur
inside.
coats,
And they do wear fur
they
Some
coats.
of
They
them
do.
do.
just prefer to
You
be
know,
Yes.
outside.
Yes.
that's kind of the a little bit of a difference from dogs in the south and dogs in the north,
Mm-hmm.
especially in rural areas in the south. A lot of times they you just let them out. You know,
Right.
people live on out on acres and acres of land, and they just let their dogs out. And there's nothing wrong with that here, but you can't do that in the north. It's
Right.
there are not acres of anything up there. There's something or somebody in the acre, or it's not developed.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, it was a good thing. We had a good week. We've also had a spay neuter clinic in the last
Oh,
month,
that's right.
and
During all of that.
during all of that, we had a spay neuter clinic, and we actually did our drop off and pick up at in Summertown at People's Bank. And so we really appreciate Jeannie allowing us to use their parking lot. Of course, the morning didn't bother anything or anybody because we were there at 5:15 a.m. But the afternoon, but it still worked out really good. Everybody stayed in their lane, and it worked out really good. We had about 40 animals, I believe, that went to the CASA that day and got their surgeries, and everybody everybody did great. Um, and we hope to have another clinic in the, I guess it would be early fall. And we talked about having the drop off and pick up in Loretta this time to
Right.
try to make it more accommodating for the whole county, because we've been doing that drop off and pick up at Rotary Park, which is a great place. You've got
Lots
plenty
of
of
lanes.
room, and you're not near the highway. It's a good place,
It,
but
it, it's nice to go to the other places, so it gives the people down there, they don't have to drive all the
as
way.
far,
Yeah, they don't have to
absolutely,
drive as far. So,
absolutely. Well, Milo said he would like to have a farm or a sofa. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
He'll take
maybe a
either.
farm with a sofa,
Maybe a farm with a sofa,
or
right?
a sofa with a farm.
Yeah, he doesn't. It doesn't matter. He's not picky. Well, what about an adoption update? Have you even had a chance to look at your numbers in the last month,
Well,
as far as local adoptions?
yeah, so I have looked at them, and I think we have two pending adoptions for the puppies because they needed to be old enough. So I want to say at that point we will have adopted out 76 dogs already this year, and then we will have transferred out, well, 38 or 9, I think. So
Okay.
we're moving them out as best we can. I mean, you can tell we're really working. Hello, buddy. We're really working on getting the dogs out, so that we can take in, so that we can take in more, like,
Right.
Milo, when people have an urgent need,
Right. And
for us to take
that
their
was
dogs.
very urgent.
Right.
Absolutely.
But if everybody would spay and neuter starting now, if we don't have a clinic, you can still contact the SNPs,
Right.
and you may know the number to that. If you have a dog that you need to get spayed or neutered, um, we can get you with a local vet and get that accomplished
Right.
At a
Right.
lower cost
at a lower
sometimes.
At a
cost.
lower
Thank you.
cost. There is a copay, and a screener will call you back after you leave your name and number, and they have a series of questions, that they ask, and there is a copay, but it's still a lot cheaper to go through Lawrence County SNPs.
Yes.
And that number is 852-4907. It's a local number, 852-4907. You can also, if you're looking for information, go to Friends of Lawrence County Animals Facebook page.
Yes.
Also, the information is there as well.
Yes.
So, we're trying really hard to help people get their animals healthier, and also keep animals out of the shelter,
Yes.
because the unwanted animals, the dropped animals,
Yes.
people that just get overwhelmed with animals because they didn't have them, taken care of, and then when they had puppies, and they end up in the shelter.
They do end up in the shelter. I can't even begin to tell you how many calls I've had in the last couple of weeks that says my dog had 11 puppies and I don't know what to do with them.
And I don't
Well,
know what to do with them.
exactly. I mean, I don't mean to be rude to anybody,
Right.
but we don't, we're, like I said, we're still going to be tomorrow a good 30 dogs over
Yes.
capacity.
Right.
And
And
I,
if there was room, you wouldn't be using your office and
exactly.
every other
Milo
nook and
wouldn't be
cranny.
living in the office. We wouldn't have two dogs in the storage area. There's plenty of light and windows in the storage
Oh, I
area.
know. Ginger tries so hard to keep the lobby area and the offices, clean and neat, because that's what people see when they walk in.
Right.
Well, as they say in the South, bless her heart,
Absolutely.
because she has dogs in the adoption room, and dogs in her office, and dog food in the lobby, and dogs
And
in
we
the
have
lobby, and
puppies in the bathroom,
puppies in
because
the
so,
bathroom.
there's something else to be said for that. So when we bring in dogs, we have to quarantine them so that they don't have, like, puppies can have parvo, distemper, and if that goes through our shelter, we're going to lose a lot of our population,
It's
even though
sad.
we
Right.
not spay and neuter, we vaccinate all the dogs that come in. If they can still get it, just like many people have had the COVID vaccine, they still get COVID. So it's kind of rare for the dogs to get some of the things that they've been vaccinated against. But when you have puppies and parvo, I mean, it could run through an entire litter of puppies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we had puppies in my office, puppies in the bathroom, puppies here, puppies there, trying to keep them all separated until they can start and get their shots, their vaccinations. So um, there
And you
is
bring
that.
up a good point, Ginger. You bring up a really good point about the quarantine. You don't really have anywhere to quarantine dogs properly.
No.
And it would be so sad for a disease to come into the shelter and go through the whole shelter. And that's happened at other shelters. And
Yes.
thank goodness it has not happened here. And it's
Right.
because of your cleaning protocols, and you quarantining animals in your office. But so that is something that we've recognized, and that you have said is a need, um, that Friends of Lawrence County Animals wants to help out with, through your donations, of course. We can't do it without you, without the community. So our next event, Kathy, our next annual event, Kathy, tell us about it.
Event, our second annual, an evening with friends at Soulshine Farms. And this is going to be Saturday, September the 6th. Um, we'll have dinner, and thankfully, the wonderful group at the KC Club will be grilling our steak and making our baked potatoes. And it was just an awesome event last year. We raised much needed money for the play yards. So this year, our goal is to raise money so we can have a quarantine building, that Ginger and her group will be able to take the new intakes. Of course, in the most wonderful wishing while we're at it, there wouldn't be intakes, but they are in the real world. But if you're interested in helping, if you're interested in sponsoring, donating, coming to the event, it is $100 per ticket. We're going to have everything listed on the FOCA Facebook page. But it it helps so much, and we need the community. I know a lot of people can't adopt or foster, but if you can see it in your heart to donate for this event, or maybe just come to an awesome dinner that sits on a nice lake and it's so peaceful and pretty, but it helps us to meet, other groups and everything, but it also helps us to raise money for the animals, for Ginger. Like I said, last year we raised money for the play yards that were desperately needed. So this year, our goal is for a quarantine and intake building. Ginger's been trying to get quotes for that. Nothing if you've tried to do any renovations or anything. There's not anything that's cheap these days.
No.
No, there's
I'm finding that out.
Mhm.
So, but this will be September the 6th around 6 o'clock. We'll have more information coming out on our website here. Uh, but if you'll just think about it, maybe you want to donate a gift card or um, just
auction
anything.
items.
Yes, an auction
Mhm.
item. We'll have a silent auction. And we have tables spread out, and everybody can go by and look and write down and everything. But anything that you can contribute just would be so welcome.
Absolutely.
I
And if you haven't had a filet from the KC Club, you're
Oh,
missing out.
You are missing
Oh,
out.
those
Yep.
steaks are awesome.
they
They
are.
are so good, and
They
and
are.
so we appreciate so much the KC Club
Volunteering.
volunteering. Yes, volunteering to do this again this year for us. In fact,
Yes.
they came to us last year and said, "We want to do something for you all,
Yes.
and
So thankful.
we want to cook." And I'm all about men
Please.
cooking.
I am all about
All
somebody
about
cooking
men cooking.
besides me. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
and if it's men, and
Yeah.
I think one of the KCs last year said I was feisty.
Oh,
I can't imagine.
I
Imagine.
I can't imagine that either.
Well, and even our county dignitaries, as I like to call them, but if you go pay your tags or your property taxes or anything, bless them. They came and helped serve.
Yes.
They volunteered their time. Some of them volunteered their uh, young adult children
Yeah.
to come and help. And it was a great event. And we are so thankful for everybody that contributed and helped. And it took a village.
It did. And tickets are on sale now. You can go to our Facebook page, Friends of Florence County Animals Facebook page, and it's pinned at the top. You'll see the flyer, and
Yes.
you can
Looks like
go right
this.
there and buy your tickets. You can pay online, and you'll receive back. Um, it's not exactly a ticket, but it's a confirmation that you've paid, and that's what you'll have when you come
Yes.
to the event.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I'm going to interrupt for a second. So last year, I mean, I've been here for a year at the shelter. And let me say, anytime I've even thought that I needed something, Folka has made it happen. So I wanted play yards. And, we had to work it through the winter, and I have play yards. I needed a, needed a commercial dishwasher, and I have a commercial dishwasher now, which is going to be great. And then, as all things do, the washer and dryer at the shelter went
Oh no.
kaput. On this, want to say it was the same day, pretty much. Last week, and I was like, oh, I need a washer and a dryer. Well, Beth gets, on, I don't know, was it Facebook Marketplace
marketplace.
or something, and she found a washer and dryer in Florence, and I grabbed one of my nephews, Eli, to go down to Florence with me after church on Sunday, and we loaded them up, and I've been washing clothes ever since, and dishes, as a matter of fact. I tease because my very first job was washing dishes at a Holiday Inn in Hope, Arkansas.
Oh my.
And so I'm not going to say how many years ago that was, but it was
Just a
a
few.
while. Let's just say it takes me back. But I have come full circle. I am now back to washing
Washing
dishes
dishes.
with a commercial washing machine.
Thankfully, with
Dish-
the commercial,
dish- yeah.
you were hand washing.
Yeah, I don't like
Well,
hand
Well,
washing.
you
And
know,
that-
Facebook Marketplace, that's a pretty
It
neat
is.
little thing there. Because
Happy.
Ginger had started talking about how important a commercial dishwasher would be for the shelter is for sanitation. Because I mean, anybody can stand at the sink and wash dog bowls. I mean, we
Right.
all can do that. But are we really sanitizing them? And you've got to think about disease again.
Yeah.
So,
Plus
luckily,
100 times 2.
plus 100 times
Food bowl,
2.
water bowl.
That's true.
Lots of hours.
That's
Yeah.
true.
They can't play with the doggies.
I don't. I think it might have been Leanne that actually went on Marketplace first, and then mentioned it to me. And Trip Weagle with Heine's Barbecue right here in Lawrenceburg had
Yes.
just posted
And to-
a used commercial dishwasher because he needed a larger one.
yes.
Well, this one is exactly what the shelter needed. So,
Come here, baby.
you know, I think Trip gave us a good deal. We didn't have
Yep.
to go out of town. We kept the money in Lawrence County.
Yep.
And,
And that's important.
Get my
Win-win.
chamber hat back on again.
Yeah.
We kept the money here, and
And
it
thanks to Story and Lee, one of our sponsors,
Yeah.
they
Yes.
Picked it up and delivered it to
and
the
delivered
shelter.
it.
Yes.
So it all worked
Thank
out
you.
great. And we found the commercial washer and dryer on Marketplace too, and met this nice gentleman, this
He was
little
really-
retired
yeah.
granddaddy, and
Yep.
yeah,
I bet he had dogs.
he was.
I'm quite sure he did. I didn't see
If
any.
not, we can help him.
Yeah,
Well,
you know, I should have.
yes, we could.
That's how I should have said, oh, Beth sent money and a dog.
And a dog. That's right. We should have, yeah.
Darn, I should have
we
thought
could have
about that.
traded a dog. But yeah, it's been really good. But I said earlier, we couldn't do this without our social media friends out there that's donating. All of our friends in Radio Land, thank you for your donations. When we did the plea to raise money for the dishwasher, you all stepped up. And I mean, we raised that money within a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had a deadline that we had to get it done, and so thank you all so much. Every time we need something for Ginger, you
Yes.
come through. So
And every time I need something, they come through it's because you come through.
that's right. That's
And thank you, WLX.
oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Always.
We couldn't do this without WLX.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see. We're going to bring up something I didn't bring up with the microchip though. Is the fireworks.
Oh, you're right.
You know, we're looking at 4th of July. Everybody loves fireworks. Well, I won't say everybody loves fireworks because our dogs don't like the fireworks.
No.
It scares them. It hurts their ears. And I know my dog.
Baby, come here.
Well, now I've got 3. They
Mama.
all just shake for hours, and they can hear the fireworks from town that I can't even hear.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Right, yeah.
It's amazing. But they also get scared and run away. So again, let's go back one more time and say it's very important, especially with the fireworks coming up, that you've got a collar on your dog, that you've got an ID tag, a rabies tag, get them microchipped. It would really be great if you could put them in the house
Yeah,
during
put
this
them in a
time.
house or a fenced-in area where they can't get out,
Yes.
because they hear that noise and they just want to run.
Yes, they're just not sure what it is, and it scares them, and then they run too far and they get lost.
Yes.
And you know, in Memphis, I think I preach that all the time. Make sure your dogs are have identification on them around any holiday where they're going to do fireworks. Obviously, 4th of July, New Year's Eve.
Right.
Make sure that they are all.
You know, we can buy the fireworks that people buy to shoot at their home. Some of them are really loud.
They are. I really appreciate that the neighborhood that I live in now, nobody does that. You know, and there's a little meme going around on Facebook, so I just have to throw this out there that instead of buying fireworks, you could always buy some treats or food for shelter animals.
Yes.
That's right. That would be really good to do that. Or sponsor a dog.
or
They
sponsor
could
a dog.
sponsor a dog, sponsor an adoption.
And our
Um,
adoption fees are $75. You
mhm,
can sponsor a partial adoption. You know, a couple
absolutely.
people, get you and your friends together. You know, that person that has everything and you don't know what to buy them for their birthday? Sponsor a spay and neuter for one of our
Yes.
animals, or an adoption fee.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great. Absolutely. Okay. Well, there's one other thing here that we're going to talk about maybe. This might step on some toes, and I don't really mean to do that, but it's really just about using common sense. Um, and it's about when not to call Lawrence County Dispatch.
Right.
Um, you know, dispatch,
Baby.
the 911 center is for emergencies,
Yes.
and they stay very busy. They're there around the clock. It's a very, I've toured that center several times with Leadership Lawrence County. When I did that program with the Chamber of Commerce, I always carried the classes
Yes.
there because it's just somewhere that you don't normally just walk in and go through.
Baby.
But those people, the dispatchers are so busy, and they're so busy with life-threatening issues, um, and they really don't have time to deal with a lot of calls about dogs. Now, there is a non emergency number that people can call. Uh, and, if there's an animal that is being very aggressive, if it's bitten a child, if it's bitten someone, I mean, I can understand calling the non emergency number with the 911 center, and they will dispatch someone, a police officer, to check out the situation. But
Come here, baby.
I'm getting a tickle in my throat, and I don't know if it's dog. Well, it could be dog hair. But at this time, I'm going to turn this over to. I'm going to turn this over to you, Ginger, and I'm going to get something to drink before I
Well,
start
okay,
coughing.
let's see. We are okay.
So just excuse me.
Well, all right, Beth, just leave me here. All right, so so we were talking about when to call dispatch. So I think one of the things, unless it is a true emergency, like there is a dog attacking somebody, you're gonna want to call 911. For various reasons. If it's a dog running loose, a dog that's in your neighborhood that you don't know who it is, you don't call 911. You can call the police dispatch, and they can attempt to find out who that dog belongs to. But I would see if the dog actually belongs to some of your neighbors, because one of the things that I think there was a study nationwide that said a lot of times the dogs that get picked up and taken to animal shelters are close to their home. So, we were talking about the dog, yes, earlier, the dog that I returned home to its owners last night. They came to the shelter to pick it up, but somebody had tried to pick up their dog twice. I mean, this time they actually did. So I don't know if they were trying to steal the dog or they thought the dog was a stray. And then, if it hadn't been for our Facebook posts, those people would have never found their dog. So that's the other thing. If there's a stray dog in your neighborhood, if you can get a decent picture of it, post it on Facebook.
Yes.
There are a lot of lost and found Lawrence County, Lawrenceburg Facebook pages for dogs that have been lost, and you can check to see if a dog's been lost, and you can post it if you found a dog.
Yes.
And many times the owners will look on those pages. Also, you can look on our page to see, because we typically, if we don't know how the dog came in, if it was just picked up as a stray, then we will post it on our Facebook page to make sure that it gets shared around. So if somebody's
Yes.
looking for their dog, they're going to find it.
And we've had that happen. I had one to show up at my house a while back, and I took a picture, shared it. Just so happened my niece clear across the county worked with its mother, with the dog's human mother.
Oh, wow.
But and it's like I was within 2 miles maybe of the house, but it had traveled that far, and they were so thankful to get their baby back.
And I'm glad you said that because dogs can travel far.
Yes.
Earlier I said about my dog that
Yes.
got out of the fence without and left her collar on the sidewalk. It wasn't this time, but I had a harness on her when I first got her, and she was very skittish, and she backed out of the harness. Well, me being me, I took one of those little compasses, the ones that you put and you draw on the maps. Those I don't even know if those things exist anymore, but I put it on my house on the map, and I drew a circle for 3 miles. And in that 3 mile radius, there was a flyer with her picture on it on at every intersection. And I don't mean major intersections. I mean every intersection. So that's if you've lost your dog, I've lost my dog signs out. I don't think I've ever seen any
Right.
here driving through town, driving through Lawrenceburg, and people will look for those.
Yes.
And I did find her, and it was kind of funny story. I'm off track just a little bit, but um, I lived not on a major street, but kind of a busy street. I was over a couple of blocks, but there was a grassy median, and I put, one of those yard sign kind of
Yes.
things
Mm-hmm.
that, about her being lost. And so thousands of people went by there. I ran into those people everywhere. But when I did find her, I changed the sign, and it said "Seek and ye shall find."
Awesome.
Oh.
Awesome.
So I
Well,
thought,
and Facebook is our best friend when it comes
right,
to lost and
Yes.
found animals, and there are so many of those websites.
Or
Um,
animals for adoption.
or
When
that's
Ginger posts the
that's
pictures
true.
right,
of the
That's
animals for
true.
adoption, please
We
share. Please
Yes,
share.
we
yes.
need you to follow the Doggy House Facebook page and
Yes.
and share those posts.
So this is a way you can be a couch potato volunteer.
Yes.
You just share our Facebook post
That's right.
and share Folka's Facebook post, because you
Abs-
never know, if you don't see it on ours. If I usually do something, they're always sharing it, and I share what they have. But go to both of our pages and share that, so you can be a couch. I have a new
There you go.
category for volunteers: couch
Couch
potato
Couch
volunteer.
potato
I like
volunteer.
that.
Okay. Well, do we want to say one more time about the volunteers? Things that volunteers can do to help you, Ginger. If a lot of people will say, "Oh, I want to volunteer. I want to help," but I don't really know what there is to do.
Well, you can walk dogs, because that's my biggest thing. You can be a playground monitor, because they don't all behave well in the play yards. We have one that likes to stand on top of the fence, not on the grass in the fence. So, we have to make sure he's not just hopping from one fence into one play yard to the next. Um, you can bathe. Hey, if you want to be at the shelter in the morning at 8 o'clock, I've got to bathe 11 puppies. I need help.
That would be
Help.
great. Yeah.
So I like for people to come out and play with our puppies. Puppies need a ton of socialization, as do all of our dogs at the shelter. Sometimes they came in as a stray, and it took forever for somebody to catch them, to bring them to us, or for us to catch them, and they just need somebody to sit with them and love and pet on them. um,
Yes.
and the weather is nice now. There's shade out at the shelter, so you don't have to stand in the sun while you're doing this. You can walk them. There's a trail out there that's a
Very nice
that's a
trip.
quarter of a mile around, and it's been cleaned off. It's really nice. We have one of our dogs that likes to take herself for a walk on the trail, but if you would like to help her and put her on a leash, that would be great. We Walking our dogs is major, because we have several of them that are housebroken, that we don't want to regress into being not housebroken if we can keep from it. Let's see what else. Washing dishes, doing laundry, folding the
Folding.
laundry. Um, helping with our transport,
Mhm.
helping move our dogs from point A to point B, so they wind up in a at C in a either a nice foster home or a permanent home up north somewhere. Let's see, what else can people do? You know, we have the folks from the Advocate donate their newspapers, and sometimes we'll get a ton of newspapers. You know what? If you don't want to mess with the dogs, you can put some gloves on and unfold the newspapers, because we put those in the puppy kennels, and then some of the small dog kennels. So there is a ton of stuff that can be done at the shelter.
Just busy work.
Yeah, busy work that I would love to be able to have time to do,
Right.
but then I get behind on some of the things that are important, like contacting these people to get the transports
Right.
going.
And an
Right.
hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it doesn't have to be all day.
I
Just
No.
know
if you
it could
have
be,
No.
some time
you
in
know,
the morning,
we have
midday, afternoon, Ginger will work with your schedule
we
Mhm.
have a
to come
gentleman that
out.
comes in a couple of days a week, and he walks three dogs and he leaves.
Yes.
And he's used to those three dogs, and so they get out. It's fine with me. I'm
Yes.
like, hello.
Socializing the animals is so important,
It
and
is.
I realized how important it was working with you on getting this transport that you did last week, and
Hmm.
getting all of those spayed and neutered and back and forth from Columbia back home and then back in the van to New York. I realized just helping you how important it is uh, for the dogs to be socialized.
Right?
And they're not just, you can't just expect a dog to be that way.
No.
No,
Um,
especially shelter dogs.
right.
We have some now that they really don't like to be touched because of maybe what happened to them prior to coming to the shelter. And
Hmm.
if I could just bring them into the office and sit with them and love on them, if I had that time,
Right.
I think they would open up to everybody. But
Hmm.
unfortunately,
You don't
you know,
have that time.
right, with
Right.
us being over capacity, I don't really have that time. Now, when I started with the shelter, I said that the dogs would be better because they came through us.
Hmm.
And I'm working towards that. I believe
You
that they
are.
are better than they used to be
You are.
coming through us, because we do have the volunteers that are making a huge difference in socializing them. And we do need more of those. And I'm always working on ways to make the dogs' lives better.
Absolutely. Well, let me thank our sponsors one more time before we go.
I know we could talk
Um,
about Milo again.
can you believe that we've been sitting here talking for an hour almost? It's crazy.
Well, you know how
Um,
I can
well, the
talk, so.
people listening may be thinking, yes, I can believe you've been talking for an hour. But we want to thank Dr. Jason Fort with Lawrenceburg Eye Care, and Cassie Tuminello with Hearing Services of Middle Tennessee, Story and Lee Furniture, and Tiffany Coat with Cryolite Realtors, and WLX and WDXE Radio stations. We just couldn't do this without them.
Yes.
Um, letting us use this hour of time.
Yes.
And if you see our sponsors or you visit our sponsors, please tell them
Yes. Please.
that you heard about them through this show, and that you appreciate, you know, what they do
Right.
in supporting us for that. I'm gonna something real quick that we're looking at helping to launch. Um, is a new initiative to humanely reduce the unwanted cat population in Lawrence County.
Yes.
Um, Ginger does not take cats at the shelter. She does not have a cat wing to put cats, and cats and dogs don't do well together in the same area. But we do have an overpopulated county of cats.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have already kind of been working on this. We have had some people that have been catching, trapping, working on the feral cat population. We get those cats spayed or neutered, and we have to release them back where we found them, because we don't have homes for them. but at least they're not going to continue to have kittens. But we are looking for people that are interested in working with us on this initiative. Maybe you're interested in helping to trap some of the feral cats. We know where those populations are. We get people that call us and we find out that there's a lot of cats in a certain area. So just we're the email is lawcocats@gmail.com. Lawcocats@gmail.com.
Charlotte?
I have an update for you. Um, oops. I have reached someone and they want to adopt Milo.
Oh,
Yay!
how
And
wonderful.
it's even a cooler story than that. He is a veteran and he
Oh.
heard the story on the radio earlier out in Deerfield, so he has a large farm. And he said he had a golden retriever when he was stationed in Germany. And he said he would love to adopt Milo.
Oh, Charlotte.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Wonderful, Charlotte. Thank you so
So,
much.
I took all those
you.
pictures I did before the show, and he said, and I just reached out to him.
Even Milo is thanking Charlotte.
And so I know. So
know.
I said, now listen, this dog has lots of energy. He goes, that's all right with me.
Oh,
And
good.
So I said, okay. And so he works the next 2 days, but he said, I said I would give Ginger his number, and he said,
Okay.
that's great. And he said he will be Friday.
Okay.
But y'all can
Very
do the details
good.
after the show. But he said he wants Milo.
Oh,
Oh, thank
Milo.
you
Just a
so
little
much.
update.
This has made my day.
Milo.
Okay.
Congratulations.
So anyway, I wanted to give that update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Milo has a home.
That
But
is wonderful.
we do have others that need a home, so you can call me at 244-0265. And this has been a great show.
It
Thank
has
you
been
for
a great
listening.
show. Thank you. Bye-bye.